What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. We just got news that Anthony Taylor is retiring from pro football, from reffing pro football. Just saw from the Fabrizio Romano post that I'll pull up right here. Um, this is not something I expected, but I think this is like a good time to just talk about what refereeing is, like the state of refereeing, and I got my mantra with me, bro. So let's have a good time. So the first thing is Anthony Taylor himself, right? It's like this, there's maybe not anyone in the Prem, like an English ref, that gets talked about more than Anthony Taylor and Michael Oliver, I think. So we could just go through and see some of the stuff, because I know for a fact Chelsea fans, Chelsea managers, Chelsea players despise this guy. Like, I know Tuchel has come out and said stuff about him. I mean, coaches say stuff about every referee, but still, he said that he shouldn't be refing Chelsea games anymore. And in fact, there's a petition, 163,000 signatures for Anthony Taylor to stop refereeing Chelsea games, and there's a whole bunch of issues, and I have clips of some of them about why he seems to be so biased against them, and we can go through the clips and analyze them a little bit and see, is it something that you guys would agree with, that he shouldn't have ref Chelsea games, that he was looking like he was biased against them. So the first one is I wanted to go over was the Cucurella red card. I have the clip here, which I'll just let play for a couple seconds while I talk over it. But basically, Romero grabbed Cucurella's hair and yanked him down in the box. Well, in the attacking box, so not going to be a pen. But in 2025-2026 Premier League this season that just happened, that's a textbook red card. We've seen it with, I think, Calvert-Lewin, right? Either he pulled someone's hair, or I think his hair actually was the one that got pulled. So that's a red. Like, I don't think there was VAR then, or else VAR would have taken a look and would have given Romero another, what is like eighth Prem red or whatever. But it's a red, and I'm a Spurs fan. You can see the little band, but I can't deny that's red. And even then, we equalized the next game, right? That I can see why. It just, like, looking back on his legacy, like what Anthony Taylor will be remembered for. Will he be remembered for being a good ref, or will he be remembered for stuff like this? I think stuff like this will really taint him in the eyes of some fan bases. And another clip I got here is when Kovacic got a second yellow in the FA Cup final against Arsenal for something that shouldn't have been a yellow or even a foul. So you have this, like, I got this like in really slow motion. I think that's Martinelli. Like, he doesn't foul him. Their feet come close together. I think that's Martinelli, goes down. Although I don't know who it actually is, but I think he goes down, and Anthony Taylor gives him a second yellow. And if we go through here, like, it looks like Martinelli's, or the Arsenal player, is the one stepping on Kovacic, but Kovacic gets the yellow. It's like, what? Like where did this come from? So who knows? Like, maybe he just didn't see it. Like, he saw it out of the corner's eye and was like, I have to give it. But I think even now with VAR, I think like Anthony Taylor's mistakes are like a good reason for VAR to exist, because both of these, I think, would have been rightfully changed, because I think now VAR can intervene on second yellows, at least starting the World Cup. So hopefully in the next Prem. But now VAR can intervene on stuff like this that Anthony Taylor would have gotten wrong. But the next like thing is like controversial thing that's happened like throughout his career is handballs. In big games, I guess, especially. So I don't know if you guys remember, but when Sevilla and Roma played each other in the Europa League final, there was a non-handball given, and I think there was also a high boot not given against Abraham. But I've just been focusing on this handball non-call a little bit, where Taylor decided not to give the handball, and VAR confirmed his decision. So I pulled up the clip here. Here's the replay. Matic just crosses it into the box, and the Sevilla defender, it hits his hand, right? We go back and watch it again in real time. It hits his hand. Now, I have a couple of thoughts about this. Is it a natural position? That's the only thing you can claim, right? And it's kind of down by his side, but it's not like his arms are like this, or behind him like that, like how you're taught when you're younger, right? You're taught to never have your arms anywhere out when you're playing and defending a cross. But his hands like this far out, maybe like a foot off his half of, like, hard to say, right? But his hand is still out, and it hits his hand. No pen gets called on the field. Goes to VAR, and I'm pretty sure VAR clears it. And Sevilla end up winning the Europa League final. And then afterwards we get like this peak, like Mourinho, right? I have a clip from The Guardian here, where Mourinho confronts him after the game. It's just classic, like how Mourinho is, right? It's entertaining, but is it the right thing? Should he be doing it? No. But the fact of the matter is that since Mourinho got so riled up because of Anthony Taylor's calls that he had to go after him during the game, it still became such like I feel like a huge like controversial moment in Anthony Taylor's career. And I even read up about it a little bit where he said that's like the worst abuse he's ever gotten was from Mourinho, and to Anthony Taylor's family too, which I don't condone at all. I don't think is okay. Like the referees get paid a bunch of money to kind of have to deal with this abuse. It comes with like the job. Um, but their family members, no, their family members didn't agree to this. Like, you think like Anthony Taylor's like has a son or a daughter or something? Like, they didn't come into this life asking to be abused by his co-workers, I guess you could say. But there was still one more controversial call I wanted to really go over that's almost related to this Roma call, which was Anthony Taylor's handball call um, against Spain in, I guess, non-call, I guess you could say, for Spain against Germany in, I believe it was in Europe. It was in the Euros, and I believe it was at the quarterfinal or semifinal. I don't remember, but I think it was deep into extra time. Cucurella was in his box, blocked a shot from Musiala. And we could just play the clip, and you can see whether you guys recall this and think it should have been a handball.
Fulco comfortable with his back to goal. There's Musiala. Big shout for handball. Reflexive shout. Anthony Taylor unmoved by that.
Let me just go back a little bit. Okay, I'm having a hard time like stopping it. Yeah, it's like right here. That this not being given is like astounding to me because I think they have VAR. I don't know. I think the reason VAR didn't give it was apparently someone was offside in the build-up, but the fact that it wasn't given on the field wants me to go into my next thing about like the relationship between refs and VAR. So the referees, like historically, right, are been the main man to dictate calls. So whatever they call, they have to get right. With VAR, they almost have that safety net that they can fall back on to kind of be like, oh, well, if I don't call it, then maybe VAR will come here and correct me. So I'm gonna go with the safe call that won't affect me, unless and say I don't have as big of input on the game, like calling a penalty or giving a red card, unless VAR goes and confirms it. Especially if they're a bit iffy on the decision, especially if they're a bit iffy on their decision, right? I think in the past they might have gone for the call because they have to just trust their gut. But if like they have a little bit of doubt, that VAR can always correct them. But I think like the issue I'm really like trying to get at is that VAR won't intervene for stuff that's not completely obvious. So that's why I think like VAR is for clear and obvious errors, which I think means that gives VAR themselves enough leeway to not have to intervene on something to correct their referee unless it's really egregious, right? So like for this handball call, for example, maybe like Anthony Taylor thought, oh, maybe it's a handball, but I'm not going to call it because I would completely change the game. But then VAR doesn't go through, and even for the Roma one is another example. VAR doesn't go through and correct him because it's not a clear and obvious error. And like, oh, maybe he has a little reason why he didn't call it, so we're going to trust him. And then it ends up the right call is not being called at all. And I really think that's something they need to figure out on how to deal with and have like better rules and regulations and a more streamlined process so they can better interact these calls. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was referee abuse, which I have like kind of a few different opinions on. So like you can critique like a referee's calls, call them out on it, but there has to be a line, right? You can't like go after them after the game, try and go into their locker room. I think that's not really a smart idea for either players or managers to do. And I always think that if a referee is with his family, it's like that's really bad if they have to experience abuse when their family's there because their family didn't sign up for it, right? Like I said earlier. But I just want to talk about even at the youth levels. Like I used to be a referee when I was younger, and even when I was like 15 or 16, and I was an assistant ref, and my center ref would like get a bunch of abuse from parents, and I just think that like I wish some things could change a little bit about how referees are treated at a level that's not the professional level. Because I think professional is a little bit different because you get paid a decent amount of money to have to deal with that. But when you're like, say you're just like a normal guy who wants to referee on the side, you have to deal with that. It's not worth it, right? Like who wants to spend their Saturday morning getting shouted out for like 2 hours for like 30 or $40 and just getting abused and talking back to by parents? It's like for most people, it just isn't worth it, especially if even if they're not like a normal guy and they're just a kid, right? Like that's especially not worth it. Like for example, when I was like 15 or 16, I was a assistant ref and my center ref after the game ended got intimidated or got like some guy like a parent was walking up to him and was like why are you like refing, because I think he had a little injury at the time. He was trying to intimidate him, right? He looked angry and I was the one that had to like get in between them and kind of separate the parent from my center ref and just tell him to like walk away and calm down, which is something that I think is crazy and just something that I think is that just didn't need to happen. But that's just a little off topic. The main point of this video is that Anthony Taylor has retired. He's had some crazy memories. Will he be missed? No, he won't be missed. But he still did a service to the game. So thanks to him, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.